And I just want to do one thing with the Uber. So I'm going to share something here real quick. Talking about that, just quickly, Sandra, you mentioned earlier, right, Uber X.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Uber X is because on the app it says Uber. You can see like black car, Uber X, and SUV.
Right.
So can you tell me a little bit about what that Uber X is? I was like, what in the world is Uber X? You mentioned
Yeah,
about
so
it earlier.
they're on a scale of essentially price.
Okay.
So UberX is usually a smaller car. It's typically hybrid or at least higher fuel efficiency. A
Okay.
black car is going to be just like a town car, kind of the natural thought of what a like hiring a private car might be like. Um,
Oh, okay.
SUV is a monster car. So that's really great if you're, well, so sometimes I'll have a friend who's hauling a bicycle and they need to get across town. So they need a car big enough to put their bike in it. Sometimes we'll be traveling as a crew, going from one point to the next. We don't want to have 4 Ubers take all of us there.
Yeah.
Maybe we can all pile into one big one.
Oh, okay. So it's just like a dialer to pick your selection of car.
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
one thing I will also say about Uber to just be aware of is that their rates are always fluctuating. So
Okay.
they have gotten very savvy. They have ways of knowing when there's high traffic flow. So here's a really awful example of how they did this. Do you guys remember hearing about like a mall shooting happening in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people were trying to get out of that mall during that catastrophe, and Uber said, we're happy to help you, but rates are going up because there's so many people that
Wow.
need an Uber right now. So just be
Oh,
aware of that. If it's, if you're at the bars and you're wanting to get a ride home, most people are leaving the bars between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. Fares quadruple. I mean, on New Year's Eve, fares were like 6 to 8 times higher, and they warn you about it because they make you agree
really?
to it. So it's never a surprise charge. But just,
Be
bear in mind,
mindful.
like if you are trying to be a little more diligent about how much money, do you really want to be spending $50 just to get home?
Right.
Probably not, when it would otherwise be like 20.
Right.
So just pay attention to that. But
Okay.
UberX is typically your most economically efficient option. So I
Okay.
appreciate that. And some people want the luxury of a big car. Sometimes UberX is all booked out. So you have to go up a notch. But at least there's that variety.